So I guess the whole company is like working on building like these like physical robots that
Yeah.
are being used on the ships.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not the whole company is necessarily working on the one.
Well, that's like this project.
Yeah, for my
Okay.
project, this is a specific type of robot, and then our traditional robot's called a toka, and that's uses a different kind of technology called rug. And I honestly don't even know what it stands for because I don't work on that. But that's like our like OG robot is toka, and then our new one is EMAT, newly named as Komodo.
So is this like a humanoid robot, or like what would it look like?
It does not look like a humanoid robot. Okay. It's a crawler, so I will say no, I can't say that because I love the Komodo, but the Toka, which is the more OG one, it's already on its like version 5, I think, so It looks a little bit nicer, we'll say, than the one that I work on. But that being said, they're more like crawler robots. Like almost think of like like we've been compared as like a Roomba. Okay. You think of like a Roomba, we're like a Roomba, but for ship decks and other things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So does the Navy use these yet, or is it still experimenting right now?
We use them with the Navy, but we go and do the inspections. So we're like
so this
third-party
is not used
contractor.
like when the Navy's like on, like let's say the ship is like currently being used.
It's currently being used, but it's like at port side.
Okay.
For example, and when they're like in between when they get deployed, before they would need to do, and specifically what my technology is used for is for like early on planning for ships is like when you have to basically like cut out different chunks of the ship and like rebuild the ship, you have to plan it years in advance to prepare for the amount of materials and the amount of labor you're going to need.
How long it takes?
Yeah, it's a big thing, and that's really where our technology comes in handy because what EMAT can do is it can go through this non-skid, and that's why it's so far in advance. You can't take because when you go to fix the ship, you're going to take the non-skid off like to do massive parts. But for the early on planning, you can't afford to take it off, so you have to have something that can move through it.
So when you're in this stage of planning for like this reconstruction or whatever, is like what is this robot like detecting as it's walking around? Like
it's detecting the thickness of the steel underneath the non-skid. So like for example, say you had like this is your plate of steel, and then you have a non-skid layer on top.
What's a non-skid layer?
The non-skid is it's like you could put it on top of the steel to like, and that's what, it literally is like non-skid so you don't slip.
Okay.
That's like the material I'm talking about, and it can be a pretty thick coating, but I honestly don't even know what it's made out of, but it's like traditional testing things can't necessarily read right through it. It's like, it's easier to read steel, right? Because it's a metal, it's a conductor, whereas like the stuff, I couldn't even tell you what it's made out of, but the idea is that steel can get slippery, especially if it gets wet, right? And you don't want your sailors slipping off and into a boat. And you'll actually notice it if you go on like a ferry, for example, in New York. Like I was recently, I was on Governor's Island with some friends playing a soccer tournament, and we were coming back, and I was actually trying to explain my job to them, and I was like, oh guys, this is perfect. Like we're on the ferry. I was like, you see this stuff that we're on? This is non-skid. Like the technology that my team uses is like to be able to read through this so you don't have to take it off. So if you've been on a ship, you've probably been on it, but you don't even realize it. It's something I didn't even realize until I started working my job. So it's like anything. You never really know where your career is going to take you, and like you can end up in these niche fields, but we're along for the ride.
There's like a field for almost anything now. It's crazy. But,
yeah.
So I guess to understand what your project is doing, so this robot is going around and it's using ultrasonic sound or acoustics to
electromagnetic acoustics.
Electromagnetic acoustics.
Acoustic transduction. I should know that better. I just always say EMAT.
So it's using the sound thing to detect the thickness of the non-skid layer.
And what's so special about the EMAT technology itself is that it can read through the non-skid, whereas traditional traditional like NDT, which stands for non-destructive testing, usually needs that to be off because you have to put like a layer of water on, and you need to be like a more smooth surface. So that's what makes this specific technology very special. It makes it a little bit harder to deal with, but it can do things that other technologies cannot do.
Interesting. So I know you said it's autonomous, so I'm sure that it's able to detect the thickness, report the thickness. I'm sure it does all that, but does it walk around the whole ship on its own, or is there someone like kind of watching over it?
Yeah, I kind of tease when I say autonomous. It's autonomous from the point of until it runs into, we have like little raster arms on it. We have like 12-inch and 24-inch raster arms where it like shifts and goes across, and then it knows to go an inch forward, shift, and it basically will do that until it runs into an obstacle. Yeah. So you as the operator have to like, it's not really autonomous. I was just kind of teasing. Like when you hit start, it'll go until you hit stop, but like it will stop when it runs into it. It's not smart. There's no like, it's not AI autonomous. It's just like, if you were to, like gravity.
Have you seen some of the stuff that like Boston Dynamics is working on?
Yeah.
Those
we have a little bit of stuff with that with them, but not for the projects that I'm working on, so I'm not super familiar with it. But I've seen one of the dogs.
Yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah.
We had like a project in Linear, and as a joke at the end, we put like the video of all the robots dancing.
Oh yeah, those are pretty funny. Yeah, I actually I TA'd and did a little bit of research for a professor in grad school, who was I think
Columbia?
pretty well affiliated. Yeah, Columbia. He was pretty well affiliated with Boston Dynamics. And he would show us some pretty cool videos of the stuff they were doing, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who's like in a similar field, I guess, how far are we in making like I mean, obviously these robots can't like think like a human, but they can act and move like in a lot of like human ways, and I guess do labor tasks now.
Yeah. It's big in like manufacturing, I think, as well.
How integrated is that in like companies these days? Like, is it still like a testing thing? These robots that Boston Dynamics are making, or are there like real use cases that are being implemented into that?
I think there are some use cases. I think I've heard like Tesla and some other companies, at least along the assembly line, use things like this. And actually, for like my senior design project when I was in Michigan, there was a lot of it. We were working for like an OEM car manufacturer, shocker, in the Detroit metropolitan area. But they had a lot of like autonomous stuff movement. I think the problem that arises, and it's what arises in a lot of like modern technology, like autonomous vehicles, like maybe not Oculus, but like Apple Vision Pro, because Oculus is a lot cheaper. But it's the technology might be there, but is it cheap enough for people to actually buy it? Probably not. And is it like, and then looking at these companies using it, is it like, it's kind of like, what's the ROI? Like, is this cheaper than a person? Maybe not.
Eventually
it could break. And I think maybe eventually it is. So it's at a point where I think a lot of this technology exists, but the money that it costs to be able to have it and maintain it, and it's a little bit of a gamble, right? Like, you think it's going to work. I mean, like, as you're a computer science student, you understand too, like, computers and all these things, they're very good at doing repetitive tasks, right? And I think, obviously, with the boom of, like, Gen AI and LLMs and all that stuff, it does show a lot of the ability for it to think, but it's still, I'm a big believer that it still is on the principle of repeat tasks.
Prediction.
I use Cursor at work. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And sometimes it amazes me at what it does, and sometimes I'm like, wow, you are so stupid, Cursor. and I'm not very nice to my Cursor terminal, I'll be honest. But I think we're at a point where the technology is almost there, but I don't know if it's like manufacturable and like reusable, and that's like where we're lacking a little bit. I think it's a part of the world, but I don't think it's quite like, it's certainly not dominating, and I don't think it's at a point right now where it is like the obvious choice to use for different things.
Yeah, no, I think human labor is probably still going to be cheaper for
a while.
Time.
Yeah.
I guess, do you know from your end like what some of the big use cases would be that I guess Boston Dynamics is hoping they could sell these products to down the line? Like, what do you think these robots could be used for?
That's a good question. Honestly, because I'm not like entirely sure. I actually really do think it's like in more the manufacturing field, where it's like very much repetitive tasks that humans have to do over and over again. And there's like two parts of it. Like ergonomically, it's very hard for people to do some of these tasks. Like it's like it's either very uncomfortable, like maybe they're too tall, too small, like they don't fit perfectly into the machine. Whereas like a robot, they don't get tired, they don't get hot or sweaty or cold or have to stop to eat or use the bathroom or have to sleep. Like they can just go repeatedly. I think that's really the biggest sector where it's like anything that's a repeated task, and you could say the same thing about LLMs. It's like anything that's like overly repeated, they can do pretty well. So I would say like assembly line stuff, specifically what in that assembly line, I don't know. Like for example, I guess like those Boston Dynamics things, they can like walk. Trying to think of like the use case of the walking. Maybe it's like literally you could have it be like, oh, I'm at this station, now I'm going to go to this station. But I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think the labor force would be, I guess, one big idea, like doing repetitive, difficult tasks that involve like some kind of physical aspect to it. But besides that, like, I mean, I guess like tasks around the home that you want to automate if it becomes that cheap, or maybe for rich people who just want like a housemaid or something. Like,
a housemaid you don't have to talk to.
Yeah, like I know that like I just started learning to cook, and like over the last month or two, and like my mom's always yelling about how messy I leave the kitchen. So I feel like having a robot to clean the kitchen would be real nice.
That would be nice.
I feel
what point is that going to be
cheap enough.
Cheaper than having
doing
someone
it.
just clean house clean.
Yeah, I think it'll take a while. I mean, at the same time, like things are moving pretty quickly. Definitely on the software side more than the hardware side.
That's what I hear in a lot of things. Yeah,
But
because it's like AI is there, but it's like, do we have the chips to be able to use the AI?
yeah, it's still expensive too.
Yeah.
But I do think it's moving at quite a fast rate though, and I think LLMs are pretty incredible at what they're able to do. So.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. You would have been in high school.
I think sophomore junior year.
High school when it blew up. Yeah, because I was a senior in Michigan when it blew up. We were like, wow, what is this crazy thing? ChatGPT, what is it? And now there's so many LLMs and they just run the world. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Can't go a day without it.
I remember the first time I saw it, like I didn't really understand it at first. Like I thought it was like, you know, like essaytyper.com.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was just something like that, or just like you just put a topic in and write an essay. But I didn't realize like how much you can actually use it for.
Yeah.
Now it's like integrated in so many parts of my life.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like I think, and I'm curious to hear more about how it. Each year, I feel like it affects the academia world more and more. And like now, I've experienced in like the work world where it's like between internships and now my full-time job. It's like I feel like it was like each summer I had an internship, and then now I'm in my full-time job, and like in between I'd have school. So it's interesting you go like school work, and it's like interesting to see how each of them changes over the time when you had like your time off. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like I thought when my first like software internship 2 years ago, I thought like my manager was like, you're going to use ChatGPT, and I was like, I'm allowed to use ChatGPT. And I remember like having it debug my code and copy and paste, and now I'm like, cursor, write this for me, and now I'm doing the debugging, it's doing the writing, I'm doing the debugging. It used to be I did the writing, it did the debugging, but you know, that's how it goes.
It's interesting. I feel like it came at a good time for me because I feel like I already learned a lot of like CS before it came out. So when it came out, it was just a tool.
So you still have the principles, which is the most important thing.
I still like kind of knew how things worked in a way. So it's like, I feel like for a lot of people who use it just to kind of do tasks for them, like maybe they don't build like the fundamental understanding, but at the end of the day, I feel like if you understand like how, I guess, software and coding works, like it's such a powerful tool that I use it so much now that I can't imagine like how I worked on projects without it, because
I know
it's like, okay, if I want to set up like an environment, boom, 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 like it just tells me the steps. Like I don't know how to figure anything out before just like reading online.
You can get through a lot of the things you don't like to do as much. Like I always hated setting up environments, doing things like this. I just let Copilot or Cursor, whatever you use, one of the others, just kind of let it do it, and then I'm like, yeah, I remember this. It's cool though.
Yeah.
How do you think the curriculum and classes has changed with it? Like, do professors talk about that? I don't even know.
I feel like it's not as integrated yet as I thought it would be. I think it will probably change more in the following years. At least I've only taken some of the introductory courses so far. Maybe in the more advanced ones they go in more detail. But it's kind of just something they mention, like, oh yeah, like, don't just use it to write all your code or something. But they don't go into much detail about, like, I guess how to use it properly. Which I think from all the people I talk to, like, they all kind of just use it. And they're I guess by using it a lot, you kind of figure out the best way to use it. And I think over the last few years of trying to use it, I've learned like all these like random tips and tricks that have like helped me so much. Like how you can use this to your advantage, like how to write a good prompt, and like how to like use like folders and stuff to like do specific things.
Yeah.
So I feel like every day I'm like discovering like new ways to like use this better. So
I literally was saying that same thing at work today. I was like, so weird how far certain things have come. Yeah, so I was trying to tell you that earlier. Whenever I work on like a personal project now, I only have Copilot, and then I have Cursor at work, and Cursor does more than Copilot in my opinion. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, I have to do so much more.
So is Cursor like sponsored by your company or whatever? Or?
A lot of us just use Cursor. It's just, I think it's just a branch off of Copilot. So it's just like slightly different. It takes in a little bit more context and it uses it a little bit better. It's like more designed around like the pure context, which is how an LLM is built anyway. Like the more you can feed it.
Does Copilot has their own LLM, right? Or do they use?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I was using it the other day and I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. We're working with a lot with Copilot for like the work I'm doing at my internship. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
because Cursor you can like pick the agent that you want.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So one of the what we're building is actually going to be like an agent. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it'll be interesting. Do you have like a preference? Like I'm sure you've tried like all the different LLMs. Like.
I'm gonna be honest. I usually one of my trusty coworkers who sits next to me is really into that, and I'm always like, Nick, tell me what do I use? So usually I rely on whatever my coworker tells me to, but my most recent one, I switched between Gemini and Claude. Just came out with the 4.0, I think. So I've been using the 4.0. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty good. I'm doing a lot of front end stuff right now at work, and so I'd like to let Cursor do as much of that as possible. So it's been doing pretty good. I think it's a little better than the Gemini one I was using, but I'm not that skilled in like knowing the difference between the agents to like really say in that much depth. Do you have a preference?
I mean, I've heard that like Claude and Perplexity and stuff are like much better for coding, but I feel like I've mainly been using ChatGPT this whole time just because I think after I bought it, like the way it personalizes it around you is really interesting.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know how that would be in other LLM models, but I know as ChatGPT as a software, like it learns to talk like you. It learns like your interests and who you are and what you're doing, and you could write a message in and it already has a context of everything about who you are.
I feel like I use ChatGPT for personal things, and then for work we have like a third party one that we use. So I don't have access to like pure ChatGPT, so I feel like I haven't used it as much since then. But like whenever, like that's what I have on my phone. Yeah. Like ChatGPT. Oh, let me ask this. I use Gemini honestly a lot too though, because I'll just Google things and then now the Gemini comes up. Yeah. So I feel like I've gotten.
I stopped using Gemini like early on because I feel like it would refuse to answer a lot of questions I had.
Oh really?
It was like I remember it refused to answer anything political or like these random like guardrails I set up. So.
Fascinating. It's fun to play with those AIs and see what you can and can't get to do.
Yeah. ChatGPT now will almost answer anything.
Yeah.
And I think they've done something where like they're trying to like maximize user engagement. So I don't know if you've noticed, but like it's always gonna ask like a follow up or like how can we keep you like engaged with you.
Oh yeah, they do that.
So I think they're doing like a lot of things in the background, just trying to get us to stay on it more.
Yeah. Because whereas Gemini's more like one and done. Probably because the way I use it is I just type into the Google search bar and then Gemini comes up and then I'm like, man, I should have just opened up Gemini and then I could have like continued on with it, but I don't know.
I remember like my friend liked to use it a lot as like a life coach, just like asking for advice about stuff, and like the thing is like before it would be like really soft, like it would just try to be as helpful as possible and not like hard on you or anything. Yeah. And now it's like after you train it a lot and it learns like how you like it when it talks to you, like now it's like when you use his or like my ChatGPT, like it'll be hard on you, it'll tell you the truth, and it's
interesting.
Like it's crazy you can get like an LLM to like kind of behave how you want it to.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It is odd. It becomes very catered to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's useful, but it's also kind of scary because, like, at the end of the day, like, we don't know what's happening with all the data they're storing and, like, what could happen.
And I think what's interesting is, like, security. I think that's going to be the biggest of, like, what happens. And that's why it's, like, every company has their own one, and then there's, like, all this national stuff. I was reading this article a couple months ago where it kind of was, like, talking about, like, the timeline of how AI is going to go. And it basically was, like, it's going to die in, like, 5 years because there's just going to be too many security issues, like, too many national security issues.
Interesting.
That and, like, all of our jobs are going to be taken over. Curious, what's your, as an early on, not in, like, a scary way, because I don't think AI is fully going to take over. Like, I know, like, SWE is a big job where it's like, oh, AI is going to take over SWE, which I think is so funny because at the end of the day, AI is built on code and SWE's code. So I'm like, how can you are taking over your own job? It feels like, I guess what comes around goes around.
I guess their argument is that, well, if AI can write code, it can write code to make AI, I guess.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll go away anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's completely going away.
I could see it potentially, like, down the road a long time from now, but I don't think anytime soon because of, like, how new this is and how much time it's really going to take to solidify and make strong. Like, I think right now it's just a tool, and I think right now the job's going to increase for the SWE. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's kind of like, it's a tool, and it's like, I think there was like a big thing with like the internet wave, like, forever long ago. Like, everyone's like, oh, the internet's going to take over our jobs, but really it just makes you more efficient. It's kind of the same thing with like AI, and I think especially with software engineers where it's like, if you know how to use it properly, it just makes you a lot more efficient. It might drop the actual need of the number of people per se. Like, it's my opinion is like, if you're the best in what you do, you're still gonna be fine. It's gonna.
So that's the goal. Everyone should have for now.
Just be good. Just be good at what you're doing. You should be fine. But I do think the SWE bubble that, what was it, 2022, when I was like a junior in college, that bubble has definitely burst. But now we enter the world of startups, so it's pretty fun. And working at a startup is fun, and having the AI is nice because you can develop faster, 0 to 1 that much faster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you're good at SWE, you'll probably still fine.
Yeah.
If you're just hoping SWE will get you by, that's probably not gonna work.
Yeah. But, if you want to get away with doing nothing, you'll probably be cut. But if you want to actually build stuff and like have some, I think also having like creativity behind SWE is really important. Like you were saying, you like to build projects and things like that. I feel like if you have the creative side with the SWE, like, and that's where I think my role, which is a forward deployment engineer, is supposed to be kind of like mixing, like you have the idea and you code it up. I think it's becoming more popular because it's like, well, if you can do both, then you're going to be great. But if you're just like a SWE that's like told exactly what to do and then you code it up, then you might be battling with AI a little bit. Yeah, I think that's boring. I personally don't like that very much.
I mean, there are probably some people who have to deal with that, but I think most SWE jobs are kind of have some creativity.
I think most do, but I think it's going to become more of like the new demand within SWE. It's like have the creativity around it.
I'm curious like how that's going to play out, but it's interesting.
That's my opinion, because I feel like I've seen the FDE role pop up more and more and more ever since I was interviewing for it in August. So times are changing fast, but it's exciting.
I mean, you seem pretty hopeful overall, but do you ever like worry about, I guess, technology in general, maybe not AI, but ever wonder about like technology's implications down the road for, I guess, humanity or the world?
Yeah, I think technology has its good and bad. I mean, obviously I work in tech, so it's like I overall think it can be good, but I do think a lot of it is bad. Like I am on social media, I'm on all forms of social media. I think social media can be good and it can be bad. I think I have a short attention span, and that's probably due to TikTok and Reels, for better or for worse. And I think that's like one minor issue, but I think the biggest issue is like, and I think people are finally starting to recognize it with like social media, because that's like the tech that I think is like not good. Social media, games, TV, spending your whole life behind a screen when we can go outside and like live our lives. I'm a big like, I don't know, I feel like there's like tech people that like to play video games, and there's tech people that almost like to be outdoorsy. I'm definitely more like the outdoorsy wave. I mean, obviously I played soccer my whole life. I love to play sports. I love to run. I like to hike. A little tough in New York, but you know, you work where you work with what you can. Central Park's pretty good. I think making sure you have the separation between the two is important. I think technology can be useful, but it can also be dangerous, particularly things like social media, addictive video games, anything that's addictive. Social media, video games, too much television, any of that. It's like, I think we all know, like, people grew up, 50 years ago, everyone was outside. I mean, not everyone, but, like, you know what I mean? So I think making sure that you have the right balance between technology and being outdoor, connecting with people face-to-face. I know a lot of people are, like, into, like, seeing people only on FaceTime or only on video chat games or on video games. You tell I'm not super into video games. Not a lot of sweets like that.
I saw the Wii remote in the back.
Okay, Wii's a little different. I'm a 2000s kid. Wii I find to be a little bit more active. You know, you're moving, you're playing tennis, you're swinging. I don't know if there's a camera on this, but you're swinging, you're doing other things, and I think it's a little more interactive. I don't play it a ton anymore, but my roommate and I do play from time to time. Baruah Kart sneaks its way in here and there. So I think in moderation it's great, and I think it's the next wave of the world. Like, the way I like to think about engineering and what kind of brought me to computer science in the first place was there's been, like, different waves of what, like, in my opinion, engineers have always built the world around us. Like, first it was, like, civil engineering, building bridges and roads. And then it was, like, mechanical engineers and, like, the industrial revolution of, like, anything mechanical. And then you built cars and anything with a motor. And then it was like electrical engineers building the first computer and this and that. And I think now it's, okay, what do we do with these computers? And that's like more computer science based. And I think that is obviously where the world's going. You can tell by the number of people that are going into computer science, the number of people that are going into SWE, the pay in these roles, the benefits in these roles. And I think that is like the innovation of the world. But I think, like I said, it has its limitations. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I've noticed coming home for the summer that your environment, just like where you are, can, I guess, change, I guess, your overall mood really quickly.
Yeah.
Because when I'm at Michigan, like, I was living on the hill freshman year. I mean, I'm pretty much outside all day, especially in the springtime.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, I spend like no time in my dorm. I only go there to sleep, and then whether I'm going to the library or just playing spike ball or going to the gym, like, I definitely enjoy being on the move, and I hate that coming home. First of all, I'm not like seeing as many people face to face, and I have a job now, so like the first 4 or 5 hours a day I have to sit behind the computer. So I feel like a lot of people, I guess, get stuck in those. I mean, at least for you, you get to go in person and work and everything, which I think hopefully I'll be able to access something like that in the future. But I think a lot of people get stuck in these bubbles, since so many people work from home these days, where like, I guess they don't even realize what life could look like on the other side, because it could change that quick. Like 1 week spending like 8 hours outside, and then I'm back home for the summer, and it's like friends like 30-40 minute drives away.
You're in the car.
Wake up and see them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is crazy. And you realize how it affects you. It's kind of like also like you were saying when the weather's nice, you were outside a lot in Michigan. It's like why people get seasonal depression because they're inside all the time and they don't see the sun. But like kind of the same thing. If you're behind a screen all the time, you're probably not going to be outdoors. You're not going to be in the sunshine. And it's kind of like, I think as humans, we are still animals at the end of the day. And like animals spend their life outside. So like try to take advantage of as much time outside as you can. But that's just...
Do you feel like you're able to do that in the city? Because I feel like whenever I'm in the city, I just like, I don't want to be here. I want to kind of get out back to the suburbs.
Well, that's because you don't like the city, so that's a little different.
So you like the city?
I love the city. Okay. And I like to be outside in the city as much as possible.
Outside in the city or outside of the city?
Like outside, within the walls of the city, but
okay.
like outdoors. Like, I mean, I think the parks here are amazing. Like, even today, I was like coming home from work.
You have one like over here, right?
Yeah, Tompkins Square Park.
I was walking around there.
I was in Tompkins Square Park. And it's a great park. And I literally was just like walking home from work and I was kind of like, and I think it like really, parks in the city just like really encompass humanity. And like, it's a perfect mix of like some nature and human interaction. I think within about 5 minutes, I saw people skateboarding. I saw like little kids playing on bikes and what are those like little motor cars that you got as a kid. See, that's where technology is fine. If you're outside in the technology, I'm okay with it. Playing in the playground. I saw dogs playing in the dog park. I saw people playing basketball. I saw there was I think it was a meditation music thing going on.
I think I saw that.
Yeah,
today?
I saw it just on the walk home. And within 5 minutes, it's like you see all these different things. And I saw trees. I saw nature. I got fresh air. And I think like parks in the city, there's just something about it. And like it's so funny. You will see it on social media. So it's like whatever. But people talk about like when spring comes around in like either a city or like a college campus. I'm sure you experienced that in Michigan this year, where it's like the first day it's warm, everyone's outside and just like having a good time. Whether it's you're playing spike ball or you're on a walk or people are playing beer die, I don't know, whatever you're doing. But there's like, it feels like there's a sense of community and you're like outside. So I think it's really great to have that. So I'm a big fan of parks in the city. I play a lot of soccer outside.
Yeah.
I think I played soccer outside the last 3 days. Today's an off day because my body can't handle it anymore. But like, there's just like all these cool places to play. Like I played on a rooftop on Monday. I played on the water on Sunday. Where did I play yesterday?
There's a field on the water.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fields on the water in New York. Yeah, because that is the beauty of New York. It's very water centric.
Yeah.
You don't want to swim in the water, but you can spend a lot of time near the water, which is great.
That's amazing.
So I think just like getting outdoors is, it's very doable here. It's been a little hot, obviously, but
I like the heat.
Wait, you said
I like blasting music in the heat. That's what's fun.
That's fair.
Time outside.
I get that. I get that. Well, when you're in like the AC room, when you feel like my office has been really cold, so it's actually kind of nice when you walk outside and it's hot. And it's like, it's like a sauna. It's a free sauna. People love to say.
Nice.
But
I'm glad you like the cities, the parks in the city, because I guess when I walked through, like I had like a completely different feeling.
What was your take on it?
Maybe it's because I don't live in the city, but it just felt very dystopian. It's like I looked at like around. It's like we're living in this like concrete jungle, and then there's like this like fake nature thing in the middle that people are. But that's just me, because I think when people live here, they get used to it though, and they start to appreciate it.
You appreciate it. I think that's really the only nature I get. I appreciate it.
Because one of my friends was similar to me, and I think I told you like when he went to Colombia, he started to like he never knew he'd like the culture here, but he started to really like feel a part of it, where like everyone's kind of on their own mission.
Yeah.
Everyone's like here to work and like try to like be successful in whatever they're trying to do. So
exactly.
I mean, I feel like that could be an interesting culture to like enter and become a part of.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure. I mean, a lot of people love the city, and
Yeah.
I guess there's probably reasons behind it. But
there is a reason it's the biggest city in the country.
Yeah.
The most people. If of all one places to live in the U.S., it's New York.
It's crazy walking around, and I'm just like, there's so many people in this world.
There are a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's got a different personality, which is just so
weird.
fun to see. That's why I think why I like these parks in the cities. You know, you see your finance people in their suits. You see people working in the hospital in their scrubs. You see the tech people who look like they're students, like me. And I'm like, I gotta put my badge on to make sure it's known that I'm an employee. You see people coming out from the night before. You see people trying to make it with music. You see people trying to make it with arts, Broadway. Like, it's just a mix of like so many different minds and what people care about, that it's just really fun to see it all come together, and oftentimes in one subway car.
Yeah. I feel like New York, I feel like when you go anywhere else, whether it's a suburb or like even other cities, like people like often talk to each other in public. I feel like that doesn't happen in New York, or does it?
It happens. It's definitely more rare. I think you kind of have to have blinders on in the city at times. But you'd be surprised when people will like say something and you'll engage. It's like a pleasant surprise when it does happen. Like I feel like for the most part, because you always have people trying to like. I was once roped in when I was first an intern here. What was that, 3 years ago? Into I don't even know what I donated my money to, and it's like, you know, I'm all for giving donations, but I kind of want to know what I'm donating to, and I got roped into one of the. Have you heard about these things? They have them on campuses too, and I got roped in and I donated something, and now I'm like, I just can't engage, or else I will spend all my money on random donations on random funds. But that's the thing. That's why you have blinders.
Yeah.
So you either have. That's why AirPods are useful, even if you're not even listening to music. It's like, oh, I'm listening to music, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Which. Maybe it's not the best thing, like it's probably better to listen to people, but I think it's kind of like you kind of get in tunnel vision and you're just like getting on the subway. It's a gritty grind, right?
Yeah.
To live here. It's not like some pleasant like life, you know, especially in the heat this week. I think it's like a perfect encompassment where everyone's just like, get me off this subway, get me into the AC, get me somewhere. People want to be someplace. But you will like every once in a while like have a conversation with someone on the street, and I think it's very memorable because you have to like almost push past those blinders to like something's really gotta convince you to have a conversation, you know, versus like you're not just friendly to everybody. So it does happen. Like I think it was Halloween last year. My friend and I were dressed up as something, and we ended up in the like on a conversation. We were just like walking in the subway, a conversation with this woman where she was like talking about like what we were dressed as. She's like, oh, like you look like this and this, and we were just very amazed. And then we like both walked into CVS, and they were like, bye, have a good shopping time. So it does happen.
It's interesting to me how it's like a memorable moment, because I guess like when I'm at college or even like in the gym or anywhere else, like I guess I'm just kind of person that like starts a conversation with almost anyone like I'm walking by.
Yeah.
And over here I just feel like this feeling like I shouldn't be like doing that here for some reason.
The gym can be more. I want to be able to do a muscle up.
Yeah,
in
you
the
told
gym.
me.
And it's been a long journey. My college roommates have been listening to me talk about it for 3 years. I'm like, guys, I'm getting closer, I swear. Which I do think I'm getting closer, but I'm still a ways away. But I was working on some things in the gym a couple weekends ago, and I happened to be in on like Saturday and Sunday, so maybe people are more friendly on the weekend. I don't know. But like, I had one person help me on Saturday, and then I had another person help me on Sunday, and I was like,
how'd they help you? Just like.
Well, the first guy gave me chalk.
Okay.
And then he was talking, because he was also working on his muscle ups, and so we were like talking technique, and then he gave me like. He told me which pull-up bar to use, and it's been a game changer. I was using the wrong one because there was something blocking it, so you're not gonna be able to swing around.
Yeah, some of them are weird. Like some of them I just won't be able to do it on. Some of them
you're just gonna hit it. And so he gave me the right one to use, and he kind of gave me some technique things, and then the next day was giving me some technique things. Like, I'm trying to remember exactly what, but it's kind of like when you have to kip at the right time with the momentum. Like he just teach me how to kip. Yeah. So people can be friendly from time to time. I think in like closer environments, it's easier versus like on the street. Like, I mean, not like my workplace, we're all pretty friendly. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with your muscle up. I remember it took me a while to get my first one.
Oh, you can do them?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I think I started lifting like freshman year of high school, so I think throughout sophomore year, the whole year I was trying and just failing. And I think I finally did it like the beginning of junior year, and I remember like I was like talking to someone and I was like just joking around saying I could do a muscle up even though I couldn't. Yeah. And then they're like showing me, and then that was like the first time.
Oh, really?
It was just like a random moment that I didn't even expect to be able to do it.
That's pretty sweet. Was it a cool feeling?
Yeah, it was cool.
I like imagine about the day when I'm actually going to be able to do it.
It'll be a cool feeling.
Do you have any tips?
This is really just a progression. It takes time. Like you start with the band and do. I think doing them with the band is pretty underrated. Like
that's my new thing. I can do it with the band now. That's like my big.
That's good. And then just keep progressing on like lower resistance or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of.
And then at first, do like a lot of swing, learn the technique. I think that what helped me the most was weighted pull-ups.
Weighted pull-ups?
I don't know
okay.
if you do those, but
I do them sometimes. I kind of hate them, but they just like it always falls out of my feet.
Do your gym? Where do you lift? Do you lift at the Blink over here? Or?
No, I lift at Crunch.
Okay. Yeah, I go to the Crunch near my home, but I think some gyms have like a belt.
Okay.
Like my high school had like a belt and like a chain, and they have it at Michigan too.
Okay, maybe I'll try that.
Put a plate. If you can like ask them at Crunch, they might have one. Usually the Crunch near my home doesn't have one, so.
Does or does not?
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Like,
so I usually just put like a dumbbell between my feet, and then by the last rep, it falls. And I'm like, oh well.
It's annoying. But
I've done a kettlebell. I've done a plate. I've tried everything.
You did a pull up with the plate?
What?
You did a pull up with the plate?
Yeah, I just stuck it between my feet. And some guy was like, the dumbbell's over there, and I was like, yeah, but the plate's right here. It's just so much closer.
How'd you get the plate? Like, where were you attaching the plate to?
Just stuck it between my feet.
How'd you finish that?
I held on to it as long as I could. I only do like 3 or 4 reps.
Like in the middle, like where the circle is, or?
No, it was literally just like hold on to it as tight as I
That's
possibly
probably why it's
could.
falling soft.
Yeah. I mean, the dumbbell's not much better. Like, you get a little bit more
I mean,
grab.
you get the, like, the round part
Yeah.
that can balance on it.
But I only do, like, 15 pounds. So it's like,
Yeah.
the 15 pounds are never going to be like that. They're, like,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
small
fair.
usually.
Yeah. Well, if you can figure that out, like, I think that's what got me the strength to be able. I think you need the strength in the technique. And,
Yeah. Because the pull-ups, like, that's actually the only, like, strength that I have. My dips have gotten a lot better in the last, like, year.
Pull-ups are impressive, too.
But that's, like, the one. That's what got me into the muscle up. Because I was, this is my small flex, because I was never the strongest in the gym. I was never the fastest in college. But I did have the record. I don't know if I still have it. I check in every once in a while when I'm back. I did have the record for the women's soccer team we did chin-ups. We did chin-ups. Yeah, at the time I had. But keep in mind, we're all soccer players, so upper body strength isn't really our thing. Yeah, chin-ups and pull-ups were my thing. Push-ups were not.
What was the record?
I think I hit 12.
Okay.
So it wasn't like even like that crazy, but like I think for a soccer sport, female, that was like pretty good.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And one year I think I did 12 chin-ups, and then I proceeded to do 11 push-ups after in the test. And our like strength and conditioning coach goes, "Well, Claire, you're the first person ever to do more pull-ups than push-ups." And I was like, I don't know if I should be proud or offended. Probably both, but that's okay.
That's impressive. Because I think that something I learned is like the weird thing about doing weighted pull-ups, even though it's a little bit of weight, is like you get used to pulling more than your body weight, so then like pulling yourself higher got easier.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I've had people tell me that that's not how it works, but for some reason that just made sense in my head.
No, that does make sense to me, because then once if you do like a couple weighted and then you do some unweighted, you could just get so much higher, I feel like. Yeah. Because it feels so easy.
Because like I was starting doing pull-ups after weighted pull-ups, and I just feel so light, and I was able to start doing them too, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like pressure. You first get the muscle up with the swing, and then you get it without the swing and just the kip, and then you get it withhout the
I'm cool with the swing. I'll take whatever I can get.
And that's still really impressive.
I was still pretty happy with that I even got one with the band. So. And it's like this thick bands, but
yeah, I still haven't met a girl who can do a muscle up, so that'd be a first.
Okay,
so.
I'll be the first girl.
Yeah, let me know.
I see them on like, Instagram reels and stuff. I try to follow like calisthenics people.
Yeah.
There's a few girls that can do it. And like I feel like it's calisthenics and CrossFit girls that are doing it. And I'm like I'm not really either of those. I'm really like not even that into lifting, but this is like the one thing I want to be able to do. So
yeah, I'm sure you can pull it off. Well, like
it'll happen.
Muscle up lifting program.
Yeah, I'll be like, here's my 5 years of notes on how long it took me to do this, but we'll get there. We're getting closer. So that's my thing. I'm like, as long as I'm always improving, with anything in life, as long as you're improving, it's not about where you are. It's not about where you are. It's about where you're headed, or whatever that saying is. But it is true. Like if you think about it, like when you think about like math, it's like it's all about your derivative. It's not about your your current state.
Yeah. Amazing.
Right, your slope.
Something I was curious about was, I guess, my sister's in high school and then I just came out of high school, and I think there's still this idea of like, we don't really know where we're going in life yet, and we're kind of figuring things out as we go. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it was the same way for you, but I guess everyone had like a different mindset at the time of like where they see themselves down the road. And I guess since you were planning to play soccer at Michigan, I wonder like at the time, like going into college, like where did you even see like your life path? Like do you feel like soccer was a big part of it, or like?
Definitely was. Okay. Yeah, I feel like I feel like Michigan's an interesting school to be an athlete at because it's a mix of like very good athletics and very good academics, and I think, and I may have already through this, but I think you have people that are focused on one or the other, and both, but like there are people like the athletes at Michigan, it kind of seemed like most of them were very focused on either athletics or very focused on academics, and I think I was definitely someone that was more focused on academics. Like I cared about, like that's why I wanted to go to Michigan. I wanted to use soccer to like be like my easy gateway to Michigan, because like once you commit, you're basically in, type of a thing. And I think I was very much that route. But I like something in me could never give up soccer. Like I loved soccer so much that it was like I knew my talent more was like things more in like the academia world than the athletic world. But like I liked it so much that I couldn't help myself but to like give more of my time to soccer. But I think like going in, I don't know if I ever really planned to play like professional soccer. I think when I was younger, I definitely wanted to do something more like that. But then I think I kind of realized I was like, if I can be on the U.S. national team, then I'll do it. But if I can't be, I don't know if I really want to do it. And I think by the time I got to college, I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to make the national team. But I was like, we'll see how college goes. Like, like I'm not like someone that like plans out my life 5 to 10 years out. So my boyfriend and I are like complete opposites with that. He's like, so in 10 years it's gonna be like this, and I'm like, let's talk like next week. But I am like kind of like see how things go, and I think getting into college, I was like planning more. I knew I was going to the College of Engineering, so I knew I was going to do some sort of engineering, maybe I'll fall back and do Ross. My whole family does business, for context. I was the only one going into engineering. And I remember teasing to my mom because I was thinking about doing computer science, going in with having no idea what it was. Had never coded in my life. I think senior year of high school, I maybe started to self-teach myself some very basic Python scripts, but yeah, like basically nothing. This was pre AI, so there was nothing out, not a lot of help besides YouTube. Anyway,
it was like COVID time, right?
So COVID hit my freshman year.
Okay. It's a rough time.
Yeah, it was interesting. So actually, that's kind of what gets into my career thing. So then I was like gonna do CS, and then my teammate, or she wasn't my roommate, but she was gonna be my roommate sophomore through senior year. But one of my really good friends she was like, oh, we were the only two in engineering on our soccer class, and she was like, it's called Industrial and Operations Engineering, and I was like, oh, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's like business and engineering, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess if I was like thinking about doing like engineering or business, I'm in the engineering school, I was like, that seems like a good fit. So I was kind of like, oh, do I want to do this or computer science? And then I don't even know why. I think 19-year-old me cared more about money than 24-year-old me, but I started learning about investment banking, and I was like, ooh, you make a lot of money. That sounds kind of cool. And I actually got connected. One of my other teammates connected me with someone who had gone to Michigan who had studied industrial and operations engineering, IOE. IOEZ as it's known as Michigan. And then he had gone into banking, or he did like sales and trading at a bank. So I feel like I just kind of like floated these waves where I was like, oh, maybe CS, maybe
I remember we talked about this, all the changing.
Yeah, and I like didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I'm like 19 years old, I'm like taking these classes, and I remember like early on CS classes, like it's like I feel like it's such a thing in CS in college, like pull all-nighters, and I was like, wow, this is kind of a lot. This is an intense thing, and I was like, I don't know if I really like this. I was like, do I want to pull all-nighters?
Was it really that way though? Like when you actually went through with it?
Well, I guess I never pulled an all-nighter in college, okay. But I feel like there was like a lot of like 3 or 4 a.m. nights.
Okay.
But like I think I struggled a lot with like the early on computer science classes, and I found them boring and hard. And I was like, well, why would I put so much work into something that I probably don't even want to do if I don't even like it? So I was like, and then if I do this, I can spend more time in soccer. So that was kind of like my mentality. So I was like, oh, I'll do this industrial engineering thing. And I was like, oh, and I'm going to go down this. I ended up like, it's kind of, I mean, anyone knows the finance world. It's like the recruiting is so crazy. I ended up talking to this kid like somewhere between freshman and sophomore year during COVID on the phone. Great guy though, because he kind of like held my hand through the whole process. And then the next thing I know, I'm like interviewing for internships for sales and trading for like the summer between junior and senior year. And I'm like, I think I was like freshman or like early on sophomore year. And I was like, and then he was like, oh, and then you don't have to worry about like your full-time career because like you'll get the internship and you have a full-time career type thing. And I was like, whoa, I'm like really planning out my life. And I was like, oh, whatever, I guess we're doing this. So I kind of just did it and then whatever. And then I think I ended up like, you like network for like sophomore year, and then I think I like got the internship at my end of sophomore year, like early on summer for the junior year summer. And I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this. And at the time I had then it was during COVID, and I feel like CS classes during COVID, I personally didn't like them because I didn't like have a lot of friends in CS. Most athletes weren't really in CS. Mm-hmm. And so I like didn't really know where to make friends, so like trying to find partners and projects, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So then I ended up with this finance internship between junior and senior year. And I should have known better that it was never going to be the right fit for me when I was like, I don't know when I'm going to wear these things. I don't like any of the clothes I have to wear. And my friends were helping me pick out clothes. My mom was helping me pick out clothes. And my mom was like, before I even started, she's like, honey, I don't know if this is going to be for you. And I was like, no, I'm going to like it. I didn't like it. And I wasn't very good at it.
What did you think going in? Like, what were you expecting it to be like?
I was told sales and trading was like a little bit more quantitative than like pure investment banking. I was like, great, I love quantitative, I love math stuff. And I was like, it ended up being a lot more like spreadsheety. And I remember asking if I could like download Python at one point, and they were like, one of the guys next to me was like, what's Python? And I was like,
really? That's so early?
I was like, why did I spend so much time doing, because at this point, I was a CS minor. I like kind of skipped. I'm basically now just telling you my life story of how I ended up in my career path. Long way of saying freshman year I did not know what I was doing, but I just kind of like rode different waves and then changed directions. And I was kind of like, yeah, so he was like, there was like no time for me to do anything technical. I think, and that my very last week, I think, in the internship, I also left the internship early for reasons we don't have to get into, but it was to go back for my soccer season. See, like I said, I couldn't give up soccer. And But it was like one of my last few days, and they like needed someone to write something in Python, and it was like the dumbest script that I wrote. But I was like, this was the best day at work, and that's when I was like, okay, maybe I should be doing something different. And at this point, I started to like my CS coursework and stuff. So I was like, I took EECS 281, which at Michigan is like known as like the project-based class. You build everything from scratch. Like we talked about it. That was a class that like really, I was like, oh, this is why I was like going to do this computer science thing. Like you build projects. This is cool. Now the thought of building a project on my own without any sort of AI tools is crazy. I'm like, oh, Cursor, write it all for me. But yeah. I thought it was really cool at the time. Yeah, I guess that's my long-winded saying. And then I ended up going to grad school for CS. And then now here we are. Now we work in tech.
Amazing.
Long story short.
So how did you get into this Gecko Robotics?
How did I get into Gecko?
Gecko.
Pure chance, honestly. I was living actually in Ann Arbor last summer. So it was like my summer internship in grad school. And at first I was really excited.
What were you working last summer?
I was working at, it was called Woven by Toyota. And it was basically like the autonomous vehicle, futuristic vehicle division of Toyota.
Interesting.
It was actually a really interesting company. But I think when I was there, I was a little excited. So they had an office in New York, very small office, that I really thought that I could get into. I really wanted to be in New York. I decided after my first year of grad school. And so it was a really interesting company, but I was kind of like, I don't really want to be in like suburban, I mean, I love Ann Arbor, but like, I felt like I was in like a suburban Michigan office. And like most of the people at the office were like a lot older, and I was like, I don't really think this is where I want to start my career. So I just was like, I just started scrolling LinkedIn, looked for I was like, New York, sweet jobs, let's see what I can find. And I always wanted to work in, I like being on the software side, but I always liked working for companies that had more like hardware backend, which is kind of hard to find in New York. And I got worked for SpaceX a couple summers ago, and I really liked it, but
I have a friend there right now. I got a friend there right now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Are they at the Hawthorne location?
I don't know. I knew him like a little bit, and then he was senior this year, so I just saw him around the gym, and he told me that he's working there this summer, and now he has like a full job.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really cool company to work for. I liked it. I just didn't love the location was the big thing, and at the time I was like, oh, well, I want another experience. But I did, that was like my first peer, more like software role, because that was the summer I did that. That was the summer after my finance internship. And I really liked it, but I was like, okay, I like working for a company that has hardware. It gave me a lot of perspective of what I wanted in my career, because I was like, okay, I know that I can like my job. I'm not just going to go into my job being like, when is the day going to end? And that's kind of how it felt when I was working in finance. So I worked there, liked it, didn't like the location. And then the next summer, I was working in Michigan. Also a car company, so they have a lot of hardware too, but I was obviously more on the software side.
Are you into cars or no?
No, weirdly enough. I'm not even that into hardware. I just think it's I'm big on having a tangible object. I like knowing. Pure SaaS kind of scares me. I don't know. There's something about it where it's because
it doesn't really exist anywhere.
Yeah, it's what are you actually doing? I'm a big, and I honestly in a sense finance is like that too. There's nothing tangible to finance. It's obviously it's a very important part of the economy and everything, but to me I was I really like having something physical if I can. And I was I've always liked robotics. I haven't done a lot in it. I took a robotics little courses an after school program as a kid and really liked it. I liked Legos and stuff as a kid too. But I thought building stuff was cool, but wires kind of scared me. So that's why I like having the hardware, but I'm on the software side. So any company that ever had the term robotics or anything, and it would stand out to me. And I was just scrolling. They're the LinkedIn job updates every day. I would look through every day and save the ones that I thought looked interesting that were SWE or SWE something related to SWE FD. Wasn't super familiar with the role at the time, and worked on something I'm very anti-social media, as you can tell. I didn't want to work for a social media company. Anything that kind of hit my criteria in New York, I'd save it. And then I was oh, this is Gecko Robotics. What is this company? Cool name. And then I was Googling it, and I was oh, they do some cool stuff. And I was okay, I guess I'll apply. And then I applied. And then a week or two later, the recruiter reached out to me. He was oh, seems like your resume is a good fit. Let's interview you. Interviewed, and then I basically got to the point where I was the decision was kind of already made, but I was deciding between working there and working at the company I was working at last summer, which would have been in Ann Arbor, and I was it was really the interview process that sold me. The people at Gecko are it's a mix of techie engineering, but people are really enthusiastic and friendly, which I think a lot of engineers sometimes are a little more introverted. I feel everyone at my company is pretty friendly and wants to get to know you.
Plus this area is like pretty social too.
Yeah, I think like being in New York like kind of gives it that presence as well. Like for our branch, obviously the main branch is in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I kind of just stumbled upon it, and honestly, I'm like, thank the lucky stars or whatever that saying is like just literally just found it on LinkedIn, just cold applied, and then here we are. So it's worked out very well, and it's been a great journey so far.
Amazing.
4 months in.
So do you feel like you'd enjoy working like with a smaller startup kind of company versus like big tech or something?
Yes, I am definitely more of like a small startup over. I mean, and we're not even that small. We're like 3 to 350 people now. We have like 5 offices, but like the New York office is like maybe 50 to 100 people, which wide range. But I'm not good. I'm not gonna gauge.
It's relatively small. Yeah.
But I think what I like the most about working at a startup is, first of all, it's like 0 to 1 projects. It's like there's like a real deadline where it's like, well, we have to make this goal. It's not just like add this new feature to like whatever. I don't like sometimes I'm like I don't, and like no all respect to people that work in like fan companies and do all this stuff, but I'm kind of like, what are you guys doing? Like I'm sure they are doing a lot, but it's like I just genuinely cannot like fully comprehend it. Where I'm like what do you guys, because there's so many of you, and like I mean obviously I see like updates to the software, so I'm like I'm assuming that's what you're doing, but I'm like, but it's also like big, like large stacks of code that I'm sure they have to get like so many PRs and stuff on, whereas like working at a startup, it's very much like how fast can you iterate, and like I'm very into like
there's like the urgency there too.
Urgency, it's like we have to get this done by a certain time, and it gives me it's like gives me a sense of purpose, and like I think early on in your career sometimes it's hard to like have a role where you feel like you have a purpose. You're kind of just doing bitch work for whoever's above you, but like at a startup everyone's really important, it seems like. And it's kind of like get this done or else, I don't know, we fail. So I think I like that. I've also always been interested in like entrepreneurship. Like as a kid, I wanted to be like an inventor. So I feel like that kind of like scratches that itch. And also just like cool to see like the impact of your work. Like it's cool to see the changes that I do on like our main software every day and like this and that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. Or like when we send out our stuff after our inspections, I'm like, oh yeah, I made that change. It's pretty cool to see your impact faster. And I think it's like, my thing is like every company was once a startup, like right, you have to start from something. So I think it's like cool to be a part of something innovative.
You never know what'll go down the line.
Exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned that your 19-year-old self cared a lot more about money than like your 24-year-old self. So
yeah.
Can you describe that? Like, what's like the evolution behind that?
I think like the first time I really, like when you were saying like getting into college, it's like the first time I really started to think about like jobs and careers and like what I wanted to do, and clearly I didn't know what I was thinking. I was all over the place, but it's fine. It led me to where I am now. Like I'm a big like everything happens for a reason, and I think I'm actually really grateful that I had like that finance internship because I think it gave me perspective, and like now I love my job so much more because I did something I didn't like as much. That being said, I think you hear a job, and a job is a way to make money, right? And at the time, I think I was like very one-dimensional in the sense of like, well, how can that if the goal is to make money, well, how can I maximize that? I want to make the most money. I don't know, maybe I cared a little bit more about what people thought of me then, and it was like, oh, I want to have a big salary. But I think it was just like the initial drive of like, one-dimensional job is to get money, I want to have money. And I think after interning several times and like being in school, like people say college is one of the best times of your life, and it's like the whole idea is you're kind of broke in college, right? You're just having fun with the people around you. And I'm a big like, you want to have enough to do what you want to do. Like, I mean, I'm not like doing anything crazy here. Like, I mean, I am still working in tech, so it's like we all make pretty good money, I think. It's like, I would rather you spend most of your time, I think my change was like, I realized I was like, you spend most of your day at work, right? Might as well like what you do, in my opinion. And if that means a little bit of a pay cut, sign me up. Because I'd rather like my day and get paid a little bit less than not like my day. I want to go into my day excited. I want to walk into my job excited. And I feel like I do that. So I think that's pretty great. And I don't know that everyone feels that way. I wish everyone did, but I think people can change their mindset, and like I think you can find something that can still pay pretty well, can still pay the bills, and it's something that you like.
It's possible for everyone.
I think it's possible for everyone. If you're
sorry, you finished.
Okay. If you're like really willing to like explore and like take that leap of faith of like
it takes work though.
Yeah, it does take work, but
I mean, I think everyone's either capable of finding something they enjoy or making what they do enjoyable. I think one of the two.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everyone, I mean not everyone, but I guess most people have to do something for a while can find a way to find some kind of joy in it. Yeah. Otherwise it's just like mundane like forcing yourself to do something so you can have fun later. But
exactly, yeah. People are like, I just need to get through this so I can have fun later. But it's like
that's just like a horrible cycle.
It's a really bad way to go about. Yeah, I think a lot of people just like assume that they think of it as work, so therefore I won't like it. But like I think if you find a way to like it, like if you find a project you're passionate about, if you find purpose in it, like I think a job is not only a way to give you money, it's a way to give you purpose. It is, like I said, where you spend most of your day. So it's like, give it meaning, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm a big in-person person because of that. Like I think it's just like, it feels like every time like I'm getting on the subway or I'm walking to work, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm at work. And then I like do my work, you know? It's not just like, oh, I guess I woke up, I'm in my bed, let me like write some stuff. I don't know. It just is like, let me click some buttons, see when someone pings me. I don't know.
I mean, that's what a lot of my life is right now. I mean, obviously my family's around, I'll be around the house, I'll be doing things. No, I won't say my bed, but at the end of the day, I'm still like within like the walls of my house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could be, I think before my internship started, I was trying to get outside as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I still do, like, whether that's like meeting friends or going to the gym and stuff like that, but I don't know, I feel like that a bit of a sacrifice I have to make at home.
Yeah, it is.
I'm hoping that
walks help, going for midday walks.
I've tried, but I don't know, a walk doesn't do it for me. I think I want to be somewhere like around people.
That's fair. You know? You work from a coffee shop? I love working from a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite coffee shop in Ann Arbor?
I don't work at coffee shops much. No? I usually just go to the library or just like dorms. It's with them on the hill. I just like sit in like Alice Lloyd.
Oh, that's fair. You get good access.
Or go to Hatcher or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's one thing I miss. Going to the office every day. I never work at coffee shops anymore. That was my favorite part about school. I love working at coffee shops.
You ever work at like some of the restaurants nearby, or it's not possible?
Like in Ann Arbor or here?
No, like over here. Like where's the place we ate at last time?
I don't really work at their like lunch places, but I have worked one day remote since I've been working. Well, one day from my apartment since I started my job, and I did go to a coffee shop that morning. But like I only work remote when I'm traveling, to be honest, because I don't know. I like going to the office. It's fun.
It's a good idea to like maybe like find some like coffee shops and just like pull up and be somewhere, but it's just that it's so much. I think it's inconvenient because it's like, okay, I gotta cook lunch and then I gotta like do this other work. And it's like it's always you take the path of least resistance. Like, okay, we just like stay at home and get this work done. It's so much easier.
Yeah, don't we all always take the path of least resistance?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm okay with it right now because I know that when I go back to school.
Yeah.
But I'm just hoping I can find a way to access like what I had in college, like the idea of like being around a lot of people. I think the hills
community,
really, right? Some kind of community, but like always being out and about and jumping from place to place. I hope I can integrate that in my life in the future. But.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like working in an office versus like being on a campus, you do bounce around a lot more on a campus than you do in an office. But like that's kind of why I like the city because it's like you commute into the office. Like I walk, most of my commute is walking, which is great.
How far is it walk from here? It's pretty far, no?
If I were to walk to the office, it would probably be like 35 minutes. So I do it from time, certainly not this week. I woke up on Monday and I was like, I'm going to walk in the office. Then I was like, walked outside and I was like, to the subway I go.
97 degrees.
But it's still like even if I subway, I walk about 15 minutes, 10 to 15, and then I hop on the subway and then it drops me off right there. So it's like you get that fresh air and like, believe it or not here, you hear the birds chirping. Shocker, I know. Hear the birds chirping, I see other people, I get on the subway, I'm with other people, and then I usually go out for lunch. So then I try to go someplace that's at least 5 to 10 minutes away from the office intentionally so that I kind of get out and about and just like see different things. And then after work, I'll walk around a little bit. I try to maximize my time, like that's why I try to maximize my time outside after work. Obviously today's an exception for the podcast, but you know, generally speaking, like still had walked most of my commute home, a little bit of subway time, but yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
You just have to like be more intentional about it versus like school, you like walk from class to class.
Amazing. I know you're not like a long-term thinker, but I guess do you ever think about like, I guess a life you want to build down the road or like what you see like in your ideal world, or is it like mainly just like a life like this where you're working and you're enjoying what you do and you want to stay in the city long-term, or like what?
That is the $1 million question. I don't like, I mean, I know I want to continue to work I like working. I've always been someone I am pretty like hyper. I don't do well when I don't have anything to do. Whether I stay like working a corporate job forever, I don't know. Whether I would start my own business, I don't know. I mean, I know right now I really like my job, so I want to do it as long as I can, and I love seeing it grow. Like it was so exciting a few weeks ago seeing us like bump up we like doubled our valuation. We got a new series of funding. Nice. It was so exciting. It's fun to be a part of something like that and have a community around it. And I don't see myself ever wanting to like remove that from my life. I mean, obviously, like, long term, I want to have, like, a family, like, a house, maybe a yard, which is possible in the city. It's definitely a little bit tougher. Maybe I'd move to Brooklyn, Queens. But, yeah, I mean, I also would move to another city. I'm not, like, I love New York, but I don't, like, need to. I moved a lot growing up, so it's, like, I think I'd like to think I'm, like, pretty adaptable moving to different places. So I'm not, like, the idea of moving to another city doesn't scare me, per se. It makes me a little sad because I love my life here, but I'm always down for a new adventure, and I think I want to have a fulfilling career where I feel like I am impacting people in a positive way. That's something I've always looked for in a job. But I like to think I do. We do positive things at our work. You know, we do a lot of safety stuff because inspections for humans can be kind of dangerous, and then also just like when things start to corrode and break, it's also dangerous. So I like to think we do good for the world. So I want to continue to do stuff like that and just leave a lasting impact. There's some other like passion projects that I'm interested in that like probably aren't lucrative. So maybe someday I would work more on stuff like that. I don't know.
Software stuff or your own stuff? Or?
The mix of it all. Like I'm very interested in like early education. That's what I did like my capstone project on. That's what I did my engineering honors capstone project on. It kind of backfired, but I was working with the Detroit Public School District to try to like come up with like software tools to help fix they have chronic absenteeism. They're like number 3rd in the country. It's basically like if students start to miss like a certain number of days in a row, it's considered like chronic absenteeism.
Oh, absenteeism.
Yeah, and it's like it gets to a point where it's like you're not going to get enough out of the school year, you're probably going to have to repeat.
This is what grades, like elementary, middle, or?
I think it's elementary through high school, but Detroit is the 3rd largest, I think, or maybe 2nd. Milwaukee was ahead of them and maybe one other, but the point is it's a big issue there. And one of the biggest issues is like literally just getting kids to school. There's not like good mode of transportation because there's not a lot of funding. They cut buses, and I was like, surely there's got to be resources that we can allocate better. Because I feel like, I mean, you just finished high school. I feel like volunteering is huge in high school, right? Like it helps you get into college. Maybe that's changed, but I remember that was the thing when I was in high school. Yeah, and it's like, how can we take like these kids that grow up in like more affluent areas or like other people that grow up in affluent areas, always looking to get their volunteer hours up and like do it towards something impactful. And I'm a big believer in like early education is just very important to help you have the building blocks to get to do that. And if you're not at school, you're chronically absent, then you're not gonna have those building blocks. You're not gonna know how to read. You're not gonna know how to write, do math, things like that. So I am interested in stuff like that. It's kind of dropped off since I moved out here. I like hear about it and I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting, but then I get distracted with.
Yeah, and there's a lot to do here, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, I get distracted by all the fun things to do. Not that isn't fun, but like it is more something I'd want to do. It's like I call it like a passion project that maybe I'd like to get back into, but yeah, just hopefully I continue on the mindset. I don't get corrupted of like for good of the world, and I think that's different for everyone. Like some people are like. Everyone has different like morals and values, and it's like as long as you believe what you're doing is good, then I think the world will be a good place.
I think so, and I think most people, at least when I'm done this podcast, whoever comes on the podcast has like something to care about and some impact they want to leave. So it's good to see that, and I agree with you. So yeah.
Do you have a passion project?
I guess this.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you were talking earlier about like the interest you had growing up and how that's kind of led you down to like this path of engineering and things like that. I feel like the part of me that has always been consistent is I like building things.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like, when you say passion project, I can see the rest of my life just making a bunch of projects. And I think that my interests are like all over the place. Like I've gone like so many random deep rabbit holes in like so many different directions.
Cool though. Makes that interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like I just get all these random ideas for things I can start, and I enjoy building something from the ground up. Like I just enjoy getting an idea and like somehow putting it together.
Sounds like you should work at a startup.
Yeah, I think so.
0 to 1.
Yeah, that's the plan. But even like wherever I end up going, whether I'm working SWE or doing startups or whatever, like I see myself like building things for the rest of my life, and I think that a lot of startups and entrepreneurs like want to have like one big breakthrough and kind of make that their thing. But I can almost see myself like building something, making it somewhat successful, then working on the next thing and like working on a few different things at the same time. Like there's some joy in like building something and like putting it like on the shelf and then the next thing. And you know, I did some things like this in high school. Like we built like a club at our school, whatever, that we scaled up, and it was some like nonprofit organization that we scaled it globally, and that was a lot of fun. And I started this 2 years ago because like I'm obsessed with so many random topics, areas, and things, and then this is a great way to just like hear about people's
Puts
stories.
it all together, yeah.
Yeah, so this is definitely one of them, and I'd love to see it grow, especially with the rebranding we're going to be doing this fall. I think it has potential now.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten a little bit better than I was 2 years ago at talking to people.
It's crazy.
With a mic, so.
Practice makes perfect.
So that's one of them, and then I told you about like the other kind of mini idea I got 3 days ago that I just started putting together.
Yeah.
I'm not revealed yet, but hopefully I can build into over the summer. But yeah, just like I guess my passion project is a bunch of random
different things. Yeah, it's fun to try new things. I'm with you on that. I was teasing. I guess I keep saying like 0 to 1. I don't know. Are you familiar with that terminology? Yeah. I've been teasing. I'm like, I actually think I'm more like a 0 to 0.9. I'm like, I like to do like most of the work, but then like finishing things is always hard for me.
Yeah.
So it's like I like to start a lot of things and then finishing. Like in school, I would like always start my project early, but I was always like submitting it at the last minute.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I like start everything early. I'm not a procrastinator, but I'm like I get to like most of the way there, and then I'm like, okay, now let's move on to the next thing.
Because there's an excitement with like doing something new.
Yeah, I think it's new and like getting it. To me, I'm like I'm not a perfectionist. And I'm not detail oriented, but I like to do things. So I'm like, I get it to where I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. This is an MVP. Yeah. And then I'm like, but that's like, obviously for school you get grade, and for work, you have to send it out to people and like test it. Like testing, I'm not a big fan of, but it is the 0.9 to 1 is very important. Yeah. And I'm trying to like switch my mentality on it, but
yeah. I'm sure you care about it. You'll develop that skill too. Yeah. But yeah. Thank you for coming down. Hope you enjoyed the little chat.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Any final thoughts or questions or anything? Or
what excites you every morning?
Every morning?
What excites you every day? What gets you out of bed?
At Michigan, it's more like seeing people. That excites me a lot. Yeah. Like I'm excited to see all my friends in all the different areas, like whether that's around the dorm, in the gym, playing spike ball. I think that when I wake up in the morning in Michigan, I'm excited to see people. Yeah. And I think that's what drives this project too. Yeah. So I guess right now, it's more the same. I guess the same answers before. Like I like building things, and it's like what new projects can I work on. But I don't know. I like to have as many experiences as possible too. When I'm like I've been living a certain kind of way for a while, I like to switch it up every now and then, just like go down a new path. Yeah. I guess like I've always been the person that's like I'd rather like try out a bunch of different things and get really good at one thing. Mm-hmm. I think I just find life more fun when I'm doing like completely random things, like randomly joining jiu-jitsu or doing like hikes, or just like whenever I get an idea, like try to figure out a way to make it possible and not like hold back.
I'm just gonna do it.
So
like you said.
What about you? What makes you what are you thinking when you wake up in the morning?
What excites me in the morning? Well, first my coffee. Really, it's summer, so I have cold brew. But in all seriousness, I think I also agree. Like doing different things. Like I want to explore as many things in the world as possible. Like seeing new things. I love just like trying new things. And I think like with work, I was saying like I never thought I would be working on non-skid on a boat. And I think just like the world of opportunities is endless. And like whether it's like meeting new people, trying a new coffee shop, trying a new food cuisine, trying a new neighborhood. Like that's one thing I love about New York is you can just hop on the subway and go check out a new neighborhood. And the same thing with work, just like continuing to learn and like explore new things. I think is what keeps me excited, and like meet new people, and maybe what makes a startup fun is it's like you just continue to grow and get better and learn more things, and yeah,
it's fun to see something like develop with time, especially over a long period of time, and like how it changes. So
and just like personal growth is pretty cool. Yeah. Think about who you were 5 years ago, who you are today, who you were 3 years ago.
It's crazy to look back.
Yeah.
All right, Claire. Sweet. Thank you.
It's been great. Thank you.